Hari Om. Let's begin with the invocation. I request all participants, please turn on your video feeds. It's much easier to interact that way. Hari Om. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupiणी Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhe Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Yes, please. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Yes, anybody? Yes,
कर्म
anybody?
करो, फल की चिंता मत करो.
Okay, Vinita ji says कर्म करो और फल की चिंता मत करो. Introduction of karma yoga. Absolutely. Yes. Johi ji, you were adding something?
In the very last, Arjun has asked about the samadhi because that's what Krishna has mentioned. So I think has asked like how what they who they are, what they do, and what
Mhm.
like things are.
Ji, absolutely. So interestingly, Arjuna is told by Krishna about this five state of consciousness, where that non-dual consciousness, Advitiya experience, the Bheda between the divine and human disappears. That is the oneness, and in that oneness, you will feel quiet, you'll feel peaceful, even in the face of adversity. You will feel calm. That's what Krishna is saying. And he says, such ones, they experience what is called the awakened samadhi, and they have attained yoga. Yoga in the sense union. They have attained union. Union with what? With the cosmic divine. Before we go into it, because Arjuna's first question is, what is this samadhi state? Does a person in samadhi sit, talk, walk like a normal person? Or is it going to be different? Somewhere we can understand from the context that samadhi state is not that samadhi which of the certain rishis and great yogis, they attain a samadhi in their last stages. That is a different samadhi. Some like we got an example of Sanjeevan Samadhi of Sant Jnaneshwar. Like that, Vallala Ramalinga Swamigal went into a samadhi and there was something called dematerialization, which is quite mystic. Even today, we don't understand it. Our entire Sanatan Dharma has got so many mysterious aspects that people have not fully understood. But this samadhi, if we can understand that oneness with the cosmic divine, what do you think will happen to us if we get oneness with the cosmic divine? Anybody? Before we hear what Krishna is saying, just assume.
It will be very difficult to live in materialistic world.
Yes, a little louder, please. Ji. Aditi ji, I
I
don't
was
hear
saying
you.
that, I'm saying that it will be very difficult to live in materialistic world, I feel. Why will I
Okay,
even
so you
bother?
will get transformed into another world. This world, it was like we have these portals, isn't it? Between different dreams.
Not that, but
Or
why will
not
I
that way.
bother about anything?
Acha, so no, okay. So materialistic world in the sense, how would you define it?
Like any desires or anything, like if I am
Okay, so desires,
like any
uncertainties.
relation also, anything. Why will I?
Acha, so okay, you will suddenly feel the need to not. Why do I connect go and ma? No, ma, not pa, nothing. Na me mrityu shanka, na me jati veda, pita naiva me naiva, mata na janma, na bandhur na mitram, guru naiva shishya, chidananda rupa, shivoham, shivoham. That was the answer of a young Adi Shankaracharya. When he was asked, who are you? He reached that in the very start. Actually, he had gone in search of a guru at that time. In search of the Guru, when he was asked this question, he started saying this Chidananda Rupa. Did you know he said to whom? Name Mrityu Shanka. And then he went on Pita Naiva Meneva Mata na Janma. And then he said, no, not even Guru, not even the Shishya. Actually, he went on, he actually said that to his Guru only. The one who had asked him this question later on became his guru and gave him diksha, took him ahead further also. So this, okay, so Aditi says, I will lose my connect with the world. Absolutely. Why should I? I don't need to worry about assignments. I don't need to worry about works. I don't need to worry about job or anything else. Okay, that is interesting. Anybody else? Anyone else would like to share? It is what we can say, having a kalpana or chintan. Yes. Anybody?
I
Bring
think what if
intellect
we
to the
become
Okay, Johi ji, then probably Vidisha ji, and I think Kalpana ji is also saying something. So first, Johi ji, yeah, yes ji,
actually yesterday we had heard about this term Karm Bandhana. So we will be free from this Karm Bandhan because we
karma
will be
bandhana.
away
Okay,
from all three gunas. And
okay,
the first thought about like won't we be detached from the complete world? Yes, we will be detached from the materialistic world, but when we are in the samadhi state, we still will be doing all the stuff like uh, ram kare kaam hum kare aram, that one thing that you had mentioned,
okay.
that
That
will be.
type of thing. So things like you said to play carom with your friend also, everything will be perfect because you're in a state of samadhi, isn't it, Johi ji? Is that what you are implying? Yes. All right, Vidisha ji. Yes, please.
emotions will be tackled more intellectually and
Okay. So fluctuations of emotion and frustration will disappear, is what Vidisha ji is saying, right? Yes, Kalpana ji, you were adding? Yes, ma'am.
if
Probably there won't be any difference between oneself and the rest of creation.
Okay, Rajrupa ji says, yeah, not there'll be no difference. We can say the Dvaita has disappeared. We'll see that
So
oneness, Samatvam.
karma yoga will continue to follow, but with the
Okay,
detachment to the people, but they will,
okay,
you will have to do work as per correctly and rightly, so that the both the things will to be balanced, but which is very
okay.
tough and which is
Which is
not
tough,
feasible.
means okay. So there's a tendency of completely detaching, but somewhere we feel
That's
Krishna
why
is
there is
telling this
only
to
one
Arjuna.
Jnaneshwar.
Arjuna has
There is
to,
only
yes,
one
ji?
Jnaneshwar. That's why there is
Ah,
only one Jnaneshwar, and
yeah, there
crores
is
of
one
people are
Jnaneshwar, there
around.
is
Yeah.
one Tukaram, there is one
So
Sopan, there
there
is
are
one
very few people.
Muktabai. So many
Yeah.
we can say are there across the Bharat. If we make a list, we'll run out of time, isn't it? So many yogis we have got, and we are lucky actually. We are very lucky that we have such a rich heritage. We just have to search around. So yes, all right. After Kalpana ji, Anuradha ji, were you adding something? And probably we'll move ahead after that.
No, no, everything is fine.
All
Yeah,
right,
they
fine.
said everything is, yeah.
Yeah. So what you were saying was resonated. All right. So this aspect of oneness, yes, but somewhere we know logically Krishna is not wanting Arjuna to get samadhi and leave the yuddha, isn't it? His duty is calling. There's a call of duty right now. He's not going to say, "Chalo, I'm going to Himalayas now. Thank you, Krishna. Now I'm going to attain the supreme samadhi. No more yuddha. You worry what you have to do. That's your headache, not mine." No. So let us see. But you see, Arjuna's question is very beautiful. He says, what are the lakshanas? We need to understand our thoughts should be grounded in the practical. Sometimes people have a lot of, I'm so spiritual. Some people say, after do, I do this, I do that. I do this for God, I do that for God. No, question is, can you do anything for God or God has to do everything for you? Man cannot do anything, isn't it? Human beings, people ask this question also. What are you doing for God? What are you doing for yourself, for your awakening of consciousness is the question that should be understood. But anyway, Arjuna says, what is this state? What is this state of samadhi? In a state of samadhi, what is another name we can call? A sthita prajna. This state of sthita prajna, how is this person? How is his behavior with the rest of the world? How does he move around? This is something we probably need to recognize for us also. If we can cultivate it, if it's good, we must definitely follow it. And if there's something bad we don't like, we have to reject it also. So let us see what Krishna says. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman. Yes, Megha ji is saying which shloka? 55th shloka ji of the second adhyay. प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते. Arjuna, when a person gives up all the desires that the mind conjures and aspires and is steady and immersed only in the self, such a person dwells in the state of the awakened self. is giving up all desires. This person has learned to somehow overcome. They're human, isn't it? Each human being has desire. But somehow, when this person has reached that state, it is like an awakening. The prajna's awakening takes place, and this person's Vivek Buddhi is Jagrut. No more is that person trapped in the prison of desire. Because mind has this game of conjuring desires, one after the other. One desire is gone, next desire comes, third desire comes. Okay, this is not enough, I need some more. That running entire rat race is the person has been able to pull that person out of it. And the person is steady and doing what? Immersed in the self. Self in the sense, the Atman, isn't it? The divine, the higher consciousness, which is within also, without also, you're trying to realize it. That person, you can say, is in the state of the awakened self. Next, Dukkheshvanudvigna manaha sukheshu vigataspruha vitaraga bhaya krodha sthithader muniruchyate. Such a person is worthy of being called a muni. When one suffers not in times of distress and in happiness, exuberance one doesn't express. When you see someone free from anger and fear, it is clearly understood that a sage is near. How do you understand? What are the lakshana? Simple. When one suffers not in times of distress. Painful times. Is there anybody among us who has not experienced pain? Is there anybody here who has not experienced pain? Is there anybody in the world who has not experienced pain? Pain is a part of life, isn't it? Whether we don't like it is a different question. That is absolutely a different thing. Nobody likes it. But one cannot escape it. That is there. But my question is, do we have to suffer in painful moments? Is suffering necessary? Oh no, I got hurt, I got hurt, I got hurt. You keep repeating 20 times. Will the pain reduce? We don't have to. Anuradha has said, yes, this is the difference between a muni and a person who is attached. When sorrow comes in, the person attaches to that sorrow, and that attachment to sorrow magnifies it, it amplifies it. That same person who is probably another person is experiencing the same pain, probably even a little more intensity, and that person has found reason to smile. Why? Because he's understood is not suffering is not that is not a necessity. Sometimes Sri Aurobindo has called pain as the hammer of God. Why is it there? To bring about transformation. And when we were very young, okay, yes, Vidishaji says, yes, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. That is the aspect. But who can choose? Who has control? You go to a hotel and you want to choose from a menu your favorite dish. First thing is you need to have money in your wallet or purse, isn't it? Otherwise, you cannot. Same way, somebody who has got that much yoga bala, that much tapo bala, that person can choose to not suffer despite experiencing a painful moment. You will not believe physical pain also people have learned to turn off. Physical pain, extreme physical pain. Anybody has heard of Ramana Maharshi? Yes. Anybody?
Yes.
Arpita ji, would you like to share something if you know about him?
About him, I I don't know exactly anything, but
Okay.
his ashram is in Tiruvannamalai.
Yeah, yeah.
I visited one time,
You
no, two
felt good,
times.
peaceful, isn't it there?
Yeah, it's very peaceful.
Yeah, yeah. And you won't believe, do you know he was operated without anesthesia?
Oh,
I
I
think
don't
his
know really.
toe or leg was eaten by a rat while he was in meditation. He was
Ah,
nibbled
yeah.
on by rats.
Okay. Then that is something I'll probably have to verify and find out. Maybe if you know it, you can share it also. But his operation part, I know. Actually, it was very interesting. The doctor only was afraid, why I will not do this. He said, no, no, go ahead, do it. No, no, without anesthesia. I said, no, I don't need it. And I don't want to lower my consciousness. As if people have a button of switching on the fan and turning it off, he could turn it. He didn't experience that. Or maybe he experienced it, but tolerance level was so much. that suffering was not there. That is the difference. A lot of time we feel, oh, look, that person is yogi, that person doesn't experience pain. No, he's experiencing pain, but is not suffering.
But
Healers are
how
sometime in
do
the
they
biggest.
how do they learn this? How do they
How do
learn
they?
this?
The
Learn this.
tapasya is there. It is there. Tapasya is there. There are different margas that we can say that is a speciality of Hatha Yoga. We all get hypothermia if we don't wear warm clothes in when we go to the mountains, no, in winter or anything. But here, this sadhu is naked, not wearing anything, and not having hypothermia at near sub-zero temp. I mean, almost zero temperature, we can call it, and sometimes even lesser. They're sitting Himalayan snows. They are meditating. How is it possible? That is first is the niyantran over the mind, then over the sharira. So it is starting there. But if mind control is only not there, where are we going to get? Means it is very difficult. Chanchala is the state of mind. Yes, absolute amazing tolerance is there. So this is what is the difference. So suffering is not there. If you see a person in pain and not suffering, yes, that's one lakshana. One more, this shloka is enough. And in happiness, exuberance one doesn't express. Means what happens? Most of the time, man is a bundle of emotions only. Either we get too happy or we get too sad. Something happened. Oh, very nice. So excited that we feel tired. In that excitement, we've drained all the energy. Sometimes we even forget why we are excited also because in that excitement we lose the ananda also. I went on telling 15 people I got this, and after a while, my tongue only is feeling a little dry and bored. Yeah, I wasted the moment of excitement and just everywhere else I've spread it. Something like that. So exuberance, one doesn't express exuberance in happiness, meaning contain your happiness. Just imagine you're eating your favorite dish. Would you like to quickly gulp it all of it in just 2 or 3 bites? Or would you like to take that rasa, one morsel at a time? Let all the teeth, all 32 teeth, let them participate. Let them participate and enjoy the every moment. Well, that is what the yogi understands. The yogi is able to understand the little joy and is always having what we can say tushti. He's a santushta. He is someone who is satisfied, who is contented. There was one man who was very happy all the time, so much that his best friend got jealous of his happiness. What happens every time this person is happy, every time he's finding something to smile about or laugh about. Unfortunately, in his life, an accident happened. One leg had to be amputated. Now, this jealous friend, you see, at least now he will know. His smile will disappear because he's lost his leg. Goes to the hospital, he still sees him smile. Now he is even more frustrated. I have both legs, I'm not able to smile. This person is having one less leg and still he's knowing the secret. He just asked, now what positive is there? You have lost one leg. He just smiled and he said, I have one shoe less to wear. That is something. That is the attitude. Attitude is everything. And Krishna is saying, first thing, right now, Arjuna's attitude, we'll have to give him negative marks, not even zero. His attitude is the worst. He's not seeing anything right because of his emotions attaching and amplifying the suffering. This also happens in our lives. That's why we should not get attached. This is the best example for us for a yogi. So happiness is not over happy and wasting it. He is contented at that time also. When you see someone free from anger and fear, have you heard of any cranky yogi or any yogi who is afraid?
Uh, cranky.
No, he will not be. No, he's not cranky. I think you're thinking about Durvasa Rishi. He was not cranky. He had something
He
where
was
when we look at three
anger
gunas,
issues.
yeah, he used his anger for a work. He would curse, no, in anger, and then new stories would start, isn't it? So the divine was working through that anger. That anger is different of a yogi. Otherwise, we'll say, no, this person is like that. There are many saints who used to shout. That is different. But that is a higher state. We will be looking at it. Actually, Aditi has given a very interesting, what we can say, exceptional case. But when we look at three gunas, that time we will understand. It is not Rajasic. Most of the anger comes from Rajas guna, and that guna is the problem. So somebody who gets frustrated at the drop of a pin, can we call such a person a peaceful person or someone who has control over emotions? No. Somebody who is reacting at all times? No. That is a clear example. Is somebody who is getting angry and also somebody who is afraid. Who is going to be afraid? Somebody who is very attached or is holding on to something as if this is going to get lost. But somebody who has given up everything, Swaha, Krishna Arpanam, or some other Bhava offering, nothing to lose attitude is there. Somebody who has nothing to lose, he has no fear also. What more? Ha, Krishna, what will you take now from me? You've already taken everything. What can be lost? Whatever is there, I can only be found now. That is the attitude. And that is why they say, Ramta Jogi Behta Pani. Koi rok nahi sakta. Nobody can stop. The yogi who is in the lay or the river that is in its free flow. No force can stop. That is the yogi, Krishna says. So someone we just noted down so that we can understand in our life also. How do we understand Munis? Well, we might have friends also. Among friends also, we might have some exalted ones. We do not know. So in a state, this person who is free from anger, who is free from fear, the one who is in happiness also, the person is not getting exuberant. Anuradhaji says, Sri M found his guru that way only. Absolutely. So wonderful. Yes. Because that is where when you are receptive only you will receive. And when is the chance? Only when you are not attached to your own emotions. So here, suffering is also not there. In the distressful moment, the person is experiencing pain. Pain is normal for everybody. Let us understand that it is actually binding all of us. If you see, we are all connected by pain. We all experience pain and nobody likes pain, isn't it? So we try to move away from it. Where do we move then? We can move either into a further pain of suffering or we can try to move towards the divine. That is probably an option which pulls everybody to the Gita as well. We're all holding on to the Gita's message because we're looking for that light, which probably Krishna gave to Arjuna as well. Let us continue. Yah sarvatra, yah sarvatra nabhisneha तत्तत् प्राप्य शुभाशुभम नाभिनंदति न द्वेष्टि तस्य pragnya pratishtita. Such a person who is thus detached, and to neither virtue nor sin is he attached. When in all moments a poise is maintained, the awakened mind he is said to have attained. Such a person who reaches that state, in that state, he is completely detached, not bothered about what is auspicious, what is inauspicious. Like Arjuna right now, he's attached only, isn't it? So he's saying Mitra Droha, Kula Kshaya, Varna Sankara. The list of papa he is going on. Guru Hatya, Swajana Hatya. I don't want this papa. So I am more worrying about incurring that papa. So I will not do my duty of a Kshatriya is what his wrong, twisted logic is. This happens in state of emotions. But one who has risen, he says, no, whatever is happening according to divine will. I don't need to worry about the auspicious or the inauspicious. About Shiva, it is said, is he a bhogi or is he a yogi? We do not know. Birth after birth, he is means so many. I mean, into this srishti, so many births are happening, and he is connected to them, or is he detached to them? Detached from all of them. Is he experiencing the ananda of the sansara? If he's experiencing ananda, he is a bhogi. Yet he is detached also. I'm not able to understand is what a lot of people try to find that. What is that thin line? Well, this person has realized the thin line who is awakened. So is no more disturbed by papa or punya. Sometimes, yes, auspicious times are there, inauspicious times are there, moments are auspicious, inauspicious moments come and go. But is the divine bound by auspicious or inauspicious, or is divine beyond auspicious and inauspicious? Is the real question. Anybody? Can you say Krishna? Today's now Rahu Kal is going on. You cannot work. Krishna, your wish cannot be fulfilled at this moment. Can we say that? No, isn't it? Divine is beyond the grahas. Jyotishacharya will look at the grahas and say, "Ki chalo, grahas will show this." But again, we're not making any, we're not ridiculing the Vidya. It is a Vidya. That is definitely a science. Best of the best Jyotish can say you drank this colored juice today. It was according to Graha, Chalit Graha, according to the Dasha, Antardasha. They do so many small, small calculations and then they say, right, today you had this juice which is red in color. The person gets shocked. How did you? That is a Vidya. But again, they cannot tell with perfect accuracy everything, isn't it? Because the divine is higher. Later on, we will see in the Gita. But so we don't need to get so flustered by somebody saying of something that auspicious or inauspicious. When this is all when you are doing in the when you're walking on the path of Karma Yoga, where you have freed yourself from karma bandhana, where you have freed yourself from the expectation. Otherwise, people say, no, no, I am above everything. Aham Brahmasmi, when it is thought, people feel, no, now I am Brahma. Nobody can come on the road who can oppose me. And then when they get a slap, they get either frustrated or they get angry with the person who told them Aham Brahmasmi and they try to go and attack that person only. So this is something practical. The person is not caring about anything other than the divine and has risen beyond this prison of Dvaita of Papa and Punya. That person is said to have attained this Sthita Prajna. How is he? Krishna gives a beautiful simile of a tortoise. Yada saharate chayam kurmongani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. Like a tortoise receding into the shell's safety over all six senses when he claims mastery. And everything he can then from everything he can then withdraw himself and dwell in the state of the awakened self. Beautiful example of a tortoise. The shell of the tortoise is impregnable, isn't it? Whichever predator wants to come, they cannot do anything once the tortoise recedes inside. Just like that, our indriyas, we have six indriyas. All of them, a person is able to quickly withdraw. Who is that person who has overcome the pull of the indriyas? Meaning, you are seeing something which is frustrating, but you're not getting frustrated. Okay, Vidisha ji says Kurma was one of the avatars also. Yes, a lot of symbolism is there. We can draw inferences also from the symbolisms. But now let us see. So if you can see something which is frustrating, your best friend is talking to another person or somebody you trust has cheated you, and yet you are not getting frustrated. Instead, you are saying, this is the truth. I don't like it, but I recognize it. You are a yogi. One number one. First step, your indriyas have not made you vigilant, what you have said. Somebody has spoken about you and said you are the most corrupt person, or you are the most foolish person, or you are the most untrustworthy person. What's going to happen? Heart palpitation. How dare you said that? What has happened? Again, Indriya. Indriya. I like touching this. I want to always feel this only. So again, hand goes somewhere else. That is again Indriya. Everywhere our Indriyas are taking us astray. But the yogi is not going astray because the yogi has self-control. So again, somebody who has great control over indriyas is said to be a one who has prajna, has awakened. The person can be called a jitendra, the one who has conquered the indriyas. You see, Bal Hanuman had already got all the sakal siddhis. When he was just young, he got all the siddhis by Ashirvad of all the devas only. Then what happened? He didn't know how to control them. His mind was chanchal. So what happened? He misused the siddhi. Then he got a curse that he will forget it. But then he again regained it. Do you know how he regained it? He regained it the hard way by conquering his indriyas. Manojavam marutulya vegam jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtam vatatmajam va nariyuta mukhyam Shri Rama Dutam Sharanam Prapatye.
Sharanam Prapa.
Yes. Sri Rama Duta, what has he done? He found a secret in conquering Indriyas, becoming the Duta of Sri Rama. He, he became the Dasa of Sri Rama. As simple as that. Surrendering to the divine. तुलसी तुलसी सब कहे तुलसी बन की घास हो गई कृपा प्रभु राम की बन गए तुलसीदास. Tulsi is ordinary grass of the forest, but when surrender happens. So right now Arjuna is learning. He said Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prakunam, but it was verbally. Full surrender is yet to happen. Sometimes it takes a lifetime for learning what real meaning of surrender is. And sometimes it takes only a moment. It depends on the individual completely. So here we see Jitendra, that person who has conquered the Indriyas, that person is said to have awakened the Prajna. He is dwelling in that awakened self. Vishaya nivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. From sensual temptations, one may strongly desist. From and all attractions, one may control and resist, but still the yearning may remain and persist. For the awakened one only, even desire's root doesn't exist. So what happens many times, people control the senses, isn't it? Problem is what you do when you control, you actually you give one force in one direction. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, isn't it? So that much return force also comes that much only. So people spend their entire time fighting imaginary battles with their own desires. But what does the yogi do? He has transcended the desire only, sublimation, what we call full vairagya. No more is that yogi bound by the desire. Say a gardener is gardening and we de-weeding the garden. How should he remove the weeds? He should pull them off and cut them, or should he pull them off from the root? From the root, isn't it? Otherwise, the roots will go further, deeper, and the weed will become harder to remove. Somebody has worked in the garden, they will understand it. Well, that is what the yogi does. The root of desire, I'll not get angry. Shanti Sagara, no matter what. That person is quiet. Some yogis, again, Durvasa Aditi ji gave an exceptional case. There also, they are having an inner peace. They have not lost that inner peace. Lokmanya Tilak, Shatham Prati Shatyam, he said, you have that force. Force must be there, but you should control it, not the force controlling you. That is the problem with emotions. So there's something higher than emotions. We'll see when it comes in the Gita. As of now, at least we can understand. For the yogi, the desire's root also doesn't exist. We have to identify how we can eliminate the root of desire. When I joined my Guruji around 13 years ago, he did not specifically give any restriction, but I felt no, I must have control over my, temptations about food and other things. So I just, but something happened. I do not know what. I saw Bhelpuri and it was in my head only. So 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and I went to Guruji and said, I feel like eating Bhelpuri. He said, eat. I was a little shocked. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, go eat. I said, how much? How much ever you want. Really? He said, yes. So the next 3 days, I was like, wow, I've got green signal from Guru Adesh. Let me eat as much as I want. But problem is what happened is after 3, 4 days, I only felt a little bored and that attachment to it. The taste, what novelty was there, that novelty disappeared. I was like, yeah, it's tasting a little dull or boring right now. So that was where slowly, that was his way. He said, you go ahead for me. That was the way. We cannot use it as SOP for all desires, isn't it? To overcome it. So this was just an example, but the intention was that we have to eliminate from the root. That is where we become free. And the one whose prajna has awakened, it's naturally sublimated. He goes on further. Krishna says, Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipashchitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Mana is what is lost. If your mind is lost, everything is lost. How do you control Indriyas? With the mind. Mana is called the Raja of the Indriyas, or we can call the Indra of the Indriyas. Who is Indra? Indra Dev is the Lord of all Devas, isn't it? He's given that post of control. He's also in Rigveda called the Lord of the Illumined Mind. You study the Rigveda, you will see very beautiful symbolisms. Sri Aurobindo has described it. So here Krishna is saying here, oh Arjuna, even amongst men who are wisest, even those who make the efforts hardest, it's not that they don't do sadhana. They do tapasya very sincerely also. Sometimes they do, ghor tapasya with lot of strength, but somewhere this desire is there. That's the problem. Even those who make the efforts hardest, These senses agitate them to go astray, and these defeated minds lose their way. So only then, when will you lose the way? When your mind is defeated. Conversely, what can we say if the mind is conquered? Anybody? What can we inversely conquer? How can we conquer? Like if the mind is conquered, will the person lose the way? You'll be free, isn't it? Never will you go on the wrong path. Desires will never take you astray. Many times people wonder what will happen if I don't hold on. Krishna is going to be asked by Arjuna also if I'm what happens if desires overcome. Well, you overcome your mind, you have won everything. You have Arjuna's battle is right now lost because not because of the arrows, isn't it, which have been fired. Nothing. Battle has not started. But he has lost because inside he has got defeated. So this is an important battle on the inside. Our mind has to be conquered. Only way you can conquer it is by conquering desires. There's a beautiful Sanskrit subhashit. It's about asha or desires. Asha yaye dasaste dasaha sarvalokasya asha yasi dasi tesham dasayate lokaha. It means that the one who is a slave of desire is a slave of the world. Because you know, somebody knows this is your weakness. Somebody knows that this person can be corrupted by this desire. That's it. They will exploit you. They will take you for a ride because of your desire only. And so you have become a slave, not just a slave of that desire, you have become a slave of the world. But instead, the one who has made Asha Yasi Dasi Tesham, the one who has made desire a slave, that person is the Raja of the world or the Rani of the world, the queen. How we can say Radha was called Radha Rani, isn't it? She had reached a higher state of consciousness, which is not reached by any mortal. Why? How? Again, it is by the Shraddha, by the devotion. That is all. Let us continue. Krishna, here is a beautiful shloka. How does one, somebody had asked, how does one control? 61st shloka gives us the answer. Very simply. Tani sarvani संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि tasya prajna pratisthita. First time Krishna is also revealing something about his own self or his own divinity. He says capable of controlling the senses is only he who focuses and meditates upon me. Means when you focus on the divine, when you meditate upon the divine, you can control your senses. If you're cranky or you're getting angry very easily, or sometimes everybody has a nature. We don't have to curse ourselves because we're all born with a nature. Whose fault is it? It's not our fault, God's fault. He's given us that nature. Let's not make ourselves guilty because of our nature. Instead, focus on the divine only. Huh. I'm getting angry at this moment. I get angry when I see this person. Start one mantra japa inside. Focus on the divine. Slowly that anger will get in control. It will reduce. Krishna is saying only the one who focuses on the divine is capable. For when the sensual distraction one overcomes, his intelligence awakened and illumined becomes. When you first control the senses, when you overcome it, then only your intelligence will get awakened. क्या करना है awakened intelligence के साथ? Is a question many people ask. Well, there's a big world. There's a big world beyond our emotions. There's a great Srishti, and this Srishti is having a great science also. We call Adhyatma Vidya, which is said to be the Para Vidya, highest Vidya. Well, that world is there's a mystic world. There are things happening. There's a whole world we have not experienced. Why? Because we have just been trapped in the flux of our own emotions. We will experience it. Yogis experienced what it was. That is why they make statements which sometimes make us wonder. Sometimes we wonder, is this yogi really realized or are they really gone in their heads? Because we don't understand. One very beautiful quote, when you realize how perfect everything is, you will tilt your head and laugh at the sky. This was what I had heard in college. I was like, something's crazy. Either this was attributed to Buddha. Either he's really found some solution or something has gone wrong. That was my hypothesis that time, and that really started a question. But later on, I did understand. That's an understanding. Yes, not a leaf moves in the world without the will of a cosmic consciousness. We don't understand it. Just because we don't understand does not mean it is not there. So the higher realization, higher understanding, a lot of things are there. Clairvoyance is there. So many siddhis and all what we talk about. That is all in another plane. To go there, first step is to control the indriyas. Because only when you control, you can realize. And for controlling, simplest way is focusing on the divine. Krishna is telling Arjuna straight, mat paraha, focus on me. Arjuna has not yet recognized Krishna to be the Devat or his Aradhya. He's not that. So he's not really sure why is Krishna saying this. So he's quiet. All right. He goes on listening, little passively, not fully understanding the gravity of the word that Krishna just said. Right now, if Arjuna focused fully on Krishna, his depression will disappear. But right now, he's still in his emotions. So we are lucky. We get more shlokas of the Gita. We get more wisdom from Krishna also. So Arjuna, remain that way. Thank you. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगास्तेषोपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते. This is the ladder of the fall. How we get trapped in Indriyas. Many people say, no, I don't believe in all of this. You believe in your senses? Yes. You believe in getting frustrated? Yes. What are the consequences then? So these slokas very beautifully say 62, 63. They explain how a person gets trapped or entangled. Initially, we like something, so we get attached. Those intellectuals who our subjects contemplate, even the intellectuals, sometimes they get trapped in what we call intellectual attachments. Just as there are physical attachments, there are mental attachments, emotional attachments. So what happens? Basically, it is this. I've known a very senior professor who wanted his name to come in the prestigious journal by hook or by crook. So got that person got so obsessed with making that happen that that person got trapped in that obsession only. That brought about the fall. The person began fudging results to show something out of the world I have done. It got published. It got published in reputed paper. Then probably, see, raising the collar, and he went around talking to people. See, I'm so like this, so and so. My article has come here. Later on, somebody else disproved it, and they showed this was a fraud, an intellectual fraud that was done, and this person had to retract the paper. Now that was a big fall from grace. People were surprised. Why did this such an intelligent person do it? The same thing, moha. That was the problem. So let us see. Dhyayate vishayan punsa. First is the attachment to something. You like something, you start getting attached to it only. Everywhere you start thinking about that. That is the start of the obsession. That is why you must learn to keep one step behind also. Those intellectuals who our subjects contemplate, attached to those subjects, lost they become. So they become lost in their subject completely. And in their detachment, they are by desire overcome. So what happens in attachment? Further, desire starts. That flame of desire, earlier it was a spark, it is now caught fire. That's it. Now that fire is growing. My question is, what happens when desire is not fulfilled? Anybody? Desires that way never get fulfilled. The one who wants a cycle says, I want to get a better cycle. Then he says, I want a car.
Frustration,
Yeah. Yes, and this
frustration,
frustration. Yes, frustration
depression,
and
depression,
frustration
anger.
and probably, yes, frustration, anger, probably leading to depression afterwards, isn't it? Ultimately. So, yes, so desire, this is the problem. So, they are by desire overcome, and by desires within themselves, anger they generate. This did not happen. This did not happen at all. Another he says, yes, cycle of satisfaction. Absolutely. It's actually like that. If guy is on a cycle only feels I should get a bike. The one on the bike says I need a car. The one on the car in the car says I need a higher end variant. The one who gets a higher end variant says, what is this? Instead, it's better instead of this traffic, I should go by flight. The one who goes on a flight wants a better flight, or somebody says, I want a chartered flight. And the one on the chartered flight, he's just coming out, his security is taking him, and he says, hey, look at that man on the cycle, he's going so freely. I wish I could also go freely. There's a cycle of desire. Everybody, no matter what you get, you want everything, it will still, they say grass is greener on the other side only. When you go to the other side, this side looks like the other side again, where you were. So you again go that place. That nature of desire is like that. So desire will create frustration. And because of frustration, what happens? Next shloka says, Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Sammohat smruti vibhramaha. Smruti bhranshat buddhinasho. Buddhinashat pranashyati. So what happens in anger? And in anger, we become hoodwinked by delusion. In delusion, memory gets clouded. In this forgetfulness, their wisdom is destroyed, and the loss of wisdom furthers their annihilation. Means what has happened now? Anger means I think we've all had moments where we got angry, isn't it? If you recollect, these are moments of anger that have soured relationships also, isn't it? I said I shouldn't have said this. I said this to this person. Then we use that dialogue also. Because you are close to me only, I get angry. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. After a while, that card also stops working. Because what happens in anger, you only think about yourself. Only frustration is there, nothing else, nothing beyond yourself. My opinion, I am caring for you more than how much you know. You better listen to me. In that, what happens is buddhi nasha. Before buddhi nasha, memory becomes clouded. My staff wanted to take holiday for a very important and sacred day, some important day, and she's asked for a leave. Say, I have sanctioned that leave. Yes, yes, I recognize that you need to be given that leave. But I have got irritated a few days back. I mean, a few days later, and what is this? This work is not over. You have to do this work. And then I just forget that she has asked for leave. Do this work tomorrow. And then the person says, I want holiday. No, 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 your holiday is cancelled. We say that just in a flow of anger. What has happened here? You have lost. And many times, what happens in little, little moments, we spoil them. And sometimes, you see, words which are taken, we cannot take them back inside, isn't it? Sorry is a very nice English word, which is people use it, sometimes misuse it the most, but it does not undo what you have done. Sometimes some relationships are permanently soured because of unconscious utterances. This is what happens. We become unconscious. We speak something. We say, I didn't mean to say this. Then who was speaking through you? Asura, some force. This is something we should realize. We are not going to be available for any lower force to work through us just because I am now attached to my desire. So we'll have to keep that aside. Because what happens in this, the buddhi is destroyed. What happens when buddhi is destroyed? Individual is only destroyed, isn't it? I gave the example of a professor. He didn't become professor just like that. He worked hard to become such a. He did a lot of, we can say, tapasya. He rose in his with his hard work, but in a moment of desire, he sacrificed it all. He did not call it sacrifice. Also, sacrifice is a sacred thing. He blew it all. He threw it all. That is all we can say. So we should not have those moments. We should be free. Sometimes people justify you should have hatred for the wrongdoer. Hey, if you have hatred, wrongdoer you should not have hatred for the wrongdoer. You should be more Chanaksha and ensure that the wrongdoer's fall takes place, but not with hatred, because in hatred, your emotions will again cloud your wisdom. That's not something we want. We do not want to lose our Viveka Buddhi, isn't it? Vivek Buddhi is important, our ability to discriminate what is right and wrong. Excuse me. In anger, it's almost impossible to make that discrimination. Raga Dvesha Vimuktaistu Vishayan Indriyaisharan Viyuktaistu Atmavashaihi Vidheyatma Prasadam Adhigachati. When one bereft of hatred and desires lives, and no authority to the senses he gives, that champion who reigns in attraction is blessed with the awakened self-satisfaction. Krishna is saying that person, that Jitendra, he is a champion. He has raised his consciousness. She has raised her consciousness so much that there is no chance for hatred to be present inside. Even that person is not going to get attracted just like that by some desire because senses no more have authority over that person. This person experiences the prasada. What is the prasada? The awakening, the blossoming of the inner lotus. In Buddhism, they call it that opening. Om Mani Padme Hum. The inner lotus must open, let it blossom. Realization, sakshatkar, all these things happen when? When the mind is calm and experiencing the oneness. Hatred cannot house that. No. The hatred is there. Krishna walks out of that heart where there is hatred. At least for that sake, we should not have that hatred inside of us. We want to do divine things. We want a guest, divine guest in our home. What do? We invite, isn't it? With love. The hate does not help there. And there is hatred, nobody will stay around you. So where will divine moments come in our life if we have hatred? So the person is raga, dvesha, vimukta. He's become free from dvesha, free from raga. It's difficult. It's difficult. But that is why it must be attempted. All challenges must be accepted because that will only lead to our evolution. That is the prasada. Many times people go to temple only for prasada, isn't it? Yeah, I like this temple so much because here we get that laddu. So at least for the prasada, let us see the prasada at least. See this prasad. What is it? Krishna says this prasada is different. It is different one. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopajayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi paryavatishthate. Unhappiness in all its form ends, and all sorrows away this blessing sends. Filling the seeker's mind with ethereal joys, he attains the perfect wisdom's poise. So, dukkha will disappear from that person's life. Maybe difficult moments will come. Uncomfortable moments may come in a person's life. But just like how that person has learned to detach from suffering, these uncomfortable moments will not bring sorrow. This experience. Late Sushma Swaraj had beautifully said how she would look at situations. If something happened as per her will, she would say she'd call it Krishna Prasad. And if something happened against her will, she said I would accept it happily as Krishna Ichha. This is a fine line, isn't it? But that's making all the difference also. It's okay. I don't want it, but it has come to me. Like it's all right. It's divine providence that has come to me. All right, I'll take it. I go ahead. Sometimes we'll have to taste some things which are not very sweet also. Nevertheless, karele ki sabji nobody likes, but it's good for the health, isn't it? Something like that. We may get some moments which are not so favorable. Let's take it. Let's take it on the stride. That is what happens. The person slowly goes to the point that that person becomes shanta, what we call sthita prajna. The person experiences that. This is not something which will happen just like that. Here I read the shloka and now I'm going to become sthita prajna. Sadhana is required. What is sadhana? Practicing, bringing it into practice sincerely. That will allow you to evolve. Krishna goes on, nasti buddhirayuktasya, nacha yuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavayatah shantir, ashantasya kuta sukham. He whose wisdom is not focused, his emotions are also not controlled. Buddhi is only not sthir. What about that person's mind? That mind is also going to become chanchala only. Just going around today here, next day there. This moment like this, next moment something else. What happens with uncontrolled emotions? Uncontrolled emotions, they only spread disquiet, isn't it? If we have some guests coming with uncontrolled emotions, we say, hey Bhagwan, when is he going or when is she going? How long am I going to bear it? Because there's no peace. Peace of mind is lost. We need that peace. We need that quietude. That's what Krishna is saying. Uncontrolled emotions spread disquiet around. And a simple question he asks. Ashantasya kutah sukham. Without peace, can happiness be found? Anybody? Can we find happiness without peace? No, isn't it? So, first thing, ground for experiencing happiness, experiencing ananda is to become peaceful. Unfortunately, this is not realized. So, what happens? Mind is focused elsewhere, body is another place, buddhi is another place, and bhavana, emotions. Emotions are taking a person for a ride all the time, filled with anxiety, frustration, disturbance. All those traps only spread disquiet around. Again, a person's personality is ruined. No? Each person has that great potential inside. That potential must be realized. When will you realize it? Only when you are calm. Beautiful quote of Sri Aurobindo is there. It is only in the calm that the divine works. So let us become calm. Then the divine may work through us also. He works through human instruments only. So why are we not worthy? We are worthy. Each of us are worthy of becoming an instrument. But for that, at least we should allow the divine to work. For that, controlling is important. Indriyanam hi charatam yan mano nuvidhiyate. Once again. इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनो नुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावम् इवाम्भसि. Wandering to the whims of the senses, the mind to its own preferred sense attaches. This sense mind leads the intelligence astray, just like the wind blowing a rudderless boat away. Mind has a tendency to attach to the indriyas, to according to preference. Somebody has a lot of preference for certain food. So no matter what, the person keeps thinking of that. Somebody says, no, I like doing this action. Something like a OCD, no? Obsessive compulsive disorder. Immediately it comes because of attachments. Yeah, I want this, I want this. So a person keeps going in that direction. What happens then? Well, this combination, this attachment of mind to objects of senses or the mind to the senses, it takes the person astray. It's like a boat without a rudder, at the mercy of the wind. Today, wind is flowing this direction, so boat is going this direction. Tomorrow, the wind is blowing that way. Many times people say, I'm in life just being pushed around like a ping pong ball. Nothing in my life is in my control. They have to go a little bit more in introspect. Is their mind in their control? If the mind is in their control, then nothing. You can say because many times even our enemies don't trouble us as much as our mind troubles us. We create so much disturbance on the inside because we don't understand that mind is so important. Everywhere we are only told don't mind. Nobody is asking us to become conscious. You see, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Guru, he had this beautiful Manache Shloka. Manache Shlok means shlokas for the mind. Because before you learn to wield weapons, you have to first learn to wield your mind properly. Mind should become druda, mind should become strong. One great yogi, he always started his pravachan with Mana Karare Prasanna. Whether or not you understand the entire pravachan, that first line you understand also is important. Make your mind happy. हो गया काम, no? Ultimately, what are you going to, if you are able to, at the end of pravachan, understand, you will become happy only. Instead, right in the start, you have understood to make yourself blissful. Well, this is something important. Krishna says, otherwise, your mind is just going to take you around a life. It's a difficult life. Means a life which is having so much potential is being wasted because of emotions, disquiet, unnecessary attachments, pushing one person today left, another person right. And this person doesn't understand because mind is not yet awakened. Mind is still trapped to attachments, insecurities, anxieties, worries. It's time to leave them behind. तस्मादस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Oh Mahabaho, Krishna is reminding Arjuna He's not trying to, appease Arjuna by saying this. Anybody, do you think he's just appeasing by calling Arjuna Mahabahu? You can say no, buttering maskala gana, they say. Is Krishna doing that to Arjuna right now? Or is he why do you think he's again and again reminding him this? Anybody?
He's reminding him of his strengths and
Yes. Why do you think it's necessary, Aditi ji, this reminding? Is it
confidence.
necessary?
To do, yeah, to do is Swadharma.
Okay,
That
Kalpana ji
Dharma
says
Arjuna,
to
is
do is
Kshatriya.
Swadharma.
so that
Okay.
Arjuna
Okay.
Motivate.
doesn't
Because
forget what he is.
Okay, Aditi ji says it's forgotten. Bina ji, yes, ma'am?
To motivate Arjuna, to
To
remind
motivate.
him that he is very capable of
So means somewhere we need to
doing
have what
whatever
we
he
call
needs
a,
to do.
yeah, we need to be reaffirmed, isn't it? Sometimes when we are young, we used to have teachers who will say, very good, very nice. We feel happy, isn't it, to do it. As we grow older, we find number of people saying that reduces. After a while, we say, nobody is there to tell me this. Arey, what is this? That time, go in front of the mirror and tell yourself. That is also sufficient. You see, even Anjaneya had to be reminded what is his capacity. He can take that great leap. He had forgotten about it. Jamban had to tell him, ki, hey, you have the strength. This is nothing. You can take 10 times longer than this also distance can be covered. That is your power. So this is important. And when Krishna is reminding Arjuna, I think can we also remind ourselves we are capable? Yes or not?
Uh, one thing
Yes,
I
Raj.
wanted to just add was there's this Shravandu who had said once that ego is helper, ego is bar. So is
Ha.
this the ego that is helper, where you're telling
Yeah,
Mahabahu or
yeah,
something,
absolutely.
kind of pulling
Perfectly
him
pointed.
up?
Yes, yes, yes. He should remember, I'm Kunti Putra. I can't cry like this. I am now tomorrow we are going to celebrate our Independence Day. So again, we are Bharatiya. We should have the pride. No, we are the children of this Sanatan Dharma. We are the upholders of it. That pride is required. So I think Rajrupa ji gave a beautiful quote of Sri Aurobindo. Ego is a helper, ego is a bar. Somewhere we must, there's something called Swabhiman, your pride of what you are. The Upanishads also talk about Kruto Smara, Kritam Smara. Remember the great deeds that you have done. That is important. That is absolutely essential also. So maybe we may not find somebody who is telling us all the positives about ourselves. Am I audible? I think the screen is frozen.
no,
Hari Om, am I audible?
yes,
All right, Ji. So my side, the screen just froze for the last minute. So anyway, if you're having difficulty, you can let me know. But I think this is an important message that we can tell. Ki, chalo, let us start reminding ourselves we are also capable because it is important to have a right conducive state of mind to do actions. Karma Yoga is also about doing actions in a sakaratmak manner, in a proper way. So Krishna is saying here, he says, therefore, your self-control you must reaffirm and in all respects hold your determination firm, as he who over his senses has mastery obtained, the state of the illumined mind he has verily attained. Somebody who has attained self-mastery, that person has reached the highest state of consciousness. We'll look at three more shlokas now. We're just about to complete this adhyay. Ya nisha sarva bhuta nam तस्याम जागृतिम संयमी यस्याम जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. For what is night for those lost in the material dreams, it is day to the dwellers of the spiritual dreams. And what is day for the seekers of the material mundane, it is darkness to the illumined man of the spiritual plane. Krishna is talking about two opposite perspectives, the perspective of the yogi and the perspective of the bhogi. Both are completely opposite. He's not talking about somebody who's sitting in one time zone in India, another person's sitting in America, who's saying good morning. That person says, no, it's good night, and they fight over each other, whether it is morning or night. It's morning for the person here, and it is night for the person there. These are truths from their subjective point of view. But here, Krishna is saying in life only, what is important? You tell somebody be selfless, they say, don't, you have to be selfish. Or when somebody is absolutely selfless, they say, no, what is this? This is absolutely wrong. You have to have some kind of motivation and you must have
Self-respect.
us. Yes, Kalpana ji, you're saying something? Yeah?
No, self-respect.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are opposites. So for a yogi, you say, I want you to here, I'm going to give you the best drugs and I'm going to give you the best alcohol. What will the yogi say? He said, no need. I don't want all of this. I just throw away that powdery paradise. Experience real Ananda, experience the real Chaitanya. Go, we want to go high, become high naturally. Don't waste your life into something like this. But someone who is just driven by desire, for alcohol addicted person, you say, come, let us do dhyana. He'll say, my swarga is here. My swarga is here. Get me one more glass. And that way I will experience my swarga here. Not recognizing that what are the negative consequences of it. I know personally because in our factory, two of our staff's husband drank to their death. They just drank to their deaths. That's all. They became widows young. They're actually younger than me, both of the people there, and they have their kids and they have to look after everything. What has happened? This person was just driven by the desire consuming alcohol. So much that the person completely got ruined. The doctor had warned also, if you take one more drop, you will not live. And this person, in his state of desire, consumed acid, the floor cleaner, thinking it is alcohol. God knows what was going on in his head. And that was how he met his doom. But for somebody who has understood the wrong, that person will say, "Arey, this is wrong. This is absolutely a poison. I would rather avoid it." So these are the perspectives. For the Adhyatmic person and the non-Adhyatmic person, they have difference of opinions. So let us not get into, fights. Otherwise, it will be like that. Indian will say good morning. American will say no, it's good night right now. Both are having their perspectives. Let them look at them from their perspective. We have to see which perspective on which side of the story we want to be on. Krishna goes on. We look at further. He says, Apuryamana machala pratishtham samudramapaha pravishanti yadvat tat tat tadvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sashantimapnoti na kama kami. Just like when many turbulent rivers converge and affect not the vast ethereal ocean as they merge, on reaching the awakened stable mind, all attraction dissolves. Not for the one whose mind to the senses whim revolves. So Krishna says, just like the very turbulent rivers, what happens when they all merge? They don't disturb the ocean, isn't it? The ocean remains what we call the Shanti is there. But when all these rivers come together, when all these rivers merge, at that time there's a lot of what we call turbulence. The streamlined flow of the river also becomes turbulent afterwards. So, like that, on reaching the stable mind, all attraction also dissolves. Not for the one whose mind to the senses whim revolves, but not for that person whose mind is attached to the indriyas. That person will run after indriyas only. The entire life will go in that direction. Krishna goes on, Vihaya kamanyah sarvan Pumamshtarati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantimadhigacchati. He who from all desires abstains, a complete detachment in life he obtains. From the senses of ownership and ego he is free, and ergo purely at peace he can be. Somebody who is actually detached is not going to get worried at all by what people say. If somebody says you are a fool, yes, thank you, I'm a fool. What next do you want from the fool? The person gets worried. What do you let us move away? Person is actually a fool. I'll let her avoid the person. Something like that. Because no more that person is the ahankar is no more disturbed, is what Krishna is saying. A complete detachment from all ownerships also. Many times, this is my property, this is my pen, this is my table, this is my chair, this is my friend, this is my daughter, this is my son, this is my husband, my wife. All these ownership we start holding on to. that only creates a disturbance. Instead, this person is free. This person, everybody, can we own anybody is my question. Can we own anybody? Yes, because of our attachment. Can we own somebody? No, isn't it? Yes, yes. Probably it is said with the japa and you can own Krishna or you can own the divine by what we can say continuous japa with Shraddha. A bhakta can command the divine also. That is a different, that's a philosophical aspect. But in practical, materially, no. Everybody has the right to have their emotions, their own experiences. We cannot force somebody whatever they don't like. That is the principle. So we look at the last shloka. This is the state, this is the highest state. Krishna in the very second adhyaya gives the highest state of consciousness. It's called Brahmi Sthiti. What will happen in Brahmi Sthiti? That is something we will have to realize, isn't it? Rather than just visualize at this moment. When we experience it, it will be better. Otherwise, I got Brahmi Sthiti that day, then I got the phone call, Brahmi Sthiti then went away. No, it's not like that. It will remain when you reach that consciousness. Krishna says, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Stitvat Stitvasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. The Brahma Nirvana, the highest Nirvana, realization, liberation, that is attained by that individual. Oh Arjuna, in this conscious state awakened, the veil of illusion is forever lifted. If the state of up to the time of death is maintained, a merger with the infinite is then attained. So if this Brahmi Sthiti is maintained, Krishna is saying, you become free from this Maya. There is something called Maya. Krishna will introduce it in the Gita later on. Without our knowing, we are trapped in some illusion. That Maya also will suddenly fall apart. No more are you trapped in Maya. And if you are able to maintain that state of consciousness until the last moment, what we call Prayana Kala, Krishna says, you will experience the oneness. You will become one with the Supreme Divine. So with this, we can conclude right now. We have completed this adhyay number 2, which is on Karma Yoga. Can somebody recollect something that we've seen today? With that, we can conclude with a Shanti Mantra. Yes, you. Hari Om. Anybody, can you recollect something?
Have control over senses, detached from all desires and attachments.
Yeah, so control over senses, detached from all the desires and
Desires and emotions.
yes, so that was one important aspect, and that is example of a Sthita Prajna, isn't it? Awakened person is not having frustration and fluctuation at all times. The person is somewhere in the state of poise. All right. Yes, Ji. Anything? Anybody else would like to add a little bit more?
He's actually talking about the qualities of a sthita pragya as
Ji.
to how the lakshanas basically, as to, how to know that the person is self-aware, what are his experiences, or how he is
So,
perceiving life. And
so now, how do we identify then? If somebody in practical, we have to take a scale, measure the beard, look at the color of the dress, or what lakshana can we see? Simplest
his
lakshana.
control over his
His
nature,
or her
basically,
control over their nature, isn't it?
emotions and everything together.
Yes. Yes, yes. The person is not afraid. I have seen one very good yogi, at least philosophically, this person was a great yogi. But then when I found out that person was so scared of injections, I was finding it very funny. The one who is going to talk about so many detachment and everything, and suddenly he talked about injection. This person, is it necessary? I don't want to go to that doctor. It's leave it, leave it. I don't feel I need somebody next to me when I'm going to the hospital. I was like, hey, what is going on? Something strange. This is not, this is Lakshana is not right. But anyway, our job is not to look at others, better is to look at ourselves and how we can become there. So when we become free from anger and fear, is somebody triggering me? Yes, the problem is not in the person who is triggering us. The problem is in us that we are getting triggered. You stop getting triggered, you'll see that person will walk away. No more. You're only giving the chance for entertainment by getting triggered. It's time to turn that off. So, free from anger and fear, we can see that person is there. Difficult moments are there, and yet the person is not suffering. Again, in happy moments, this person is not showing off or taking that anger. So, in happiness, the person is just, spending it all. You see, your punya also, you must keep it carefully. Whatever good punya you have earned, you're not supposed to just go on a spending spree. So you're containing your consciousness, you're not scattering it. Such a person, we can say, is said to have got the awakened prajna. So with this, we can conclude now with the Shanti Mantra. If anybody has any queries, questions, you are most welcome after the prayer. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि
सर्वे
पश्यन्तु
भद्राणि
मा कश्चित्
पश्यन्तु
दुःखभाग्
मा
भवेत्
कश्चित् भवेत्.
Hari Om. Krishna Bande Jagadguru. Purnamilava, we'll start. What is the third adhyay? Krishna has given already Sthita Prajna's Lakshana for Arjuna. So will Arjuna become Sthita Prajna in the third adhyay itself? Or is he going to continue with his emotions? We'll have to see. But it will be strange if he is still having emotions after Krishna is in Pratyaksha, even. We are just reading the Gita, isn't it? So we cannot say, I read the Gita, so I got Sthita Prajna Sthiti. We'll have to work on it. This will have to be used like a manual and practice it. The truth is, Arjuna doesn't get transformed immediately. He takes his time. So I think we also will have to try to bring into practice the principles because otherwise, there's no point in studying the principles of the Gita and not following them. Some people memorize all the shlokas, but they're not following even 10 shlokas. Then what a sad thing it is. That should not be in our case. So, all right, then with this we conclude. If anybody has any queries, you are most welcome. And tomorrow is actually non-working day for that is why the books, those who have asked for the books, they will not be dispatched tomorrow. They will be dispatched day after tomorrow. So one day it will take. Hari Om Ji. Yes, please.
Hari Om.
I have one question, sir.
Namaskar.
I
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
ask
ma'am.
that, yes,
Hari
how should we be free from emotional bondage related to our parents or child? Because like they are the very close to us. Rest of the world we can understand, but the
Yeah.
related to parents and related to children, how to do it, sir? Any,
Ji,
any
ji.
point
Yes,
of
that is actually that is something which will come later on in the Gita also. Today we see is Mad Paraha is something which Krishna has told, focus on the divine, focus on the divine. Don't worry about outer judgments which are passed about you. Become quiet on the inside. That way at least you can somehow form an insulation. Later on in the Gita we'll understand, but I think now it's a very practical question, isn't it? We have to respect our parents at all times. But then there is a Swadharma also, isn't it? You say parents are your first gods. Many times become the enemies also. What is Krishna? What is Gita teaching us? Arjuna is standing against his own teachers. Why? Not because of frustration, not because of anger, or because of some selfish desire. He's standing because of the ground of principles. So maybe you can always disagree without disrespecting also. And this much we must understand. When you're on the right path, you are going to be told. You are going to be told so many things against what you are doing. And it's up to us to get carried away or not get carried away by it. Because this is the truth. Swadharma is something which is important. Krishna says, Arjuna, you have to stand up. Stand up for the right. We're not going to fight wars with our own people. But at the same time, we're not going to get crushed, isn't it? Just because somebody's expectation. Chalo, I don't have expectations, but I'm going to allow another person's expectations of me to trap me and make me what grinded. Will I get ground by it? No, no, no. We have our own individuality also, which is required. It's a very fine line, but I think when we go a little bit deeper in the Gita, we'll be told different ways. But as of today, we can say Indriyas, you are like this, you are like that. Somebody tells you 1 year here, other ear, then throw it out. You don't have to react. Yes, Vidisha ji, is
Thank
that
you very
somewhere relatable?
much. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Ji, all right, ji. Hari Om ji. Thank you.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask something that when control of senses is concerned, is it about not feeling or is it about feeling but controlling the expression?
Controlling is not feeling at all. Controlling is getting a niyantran. Means now say you recognize that there is an infrared region, no? Because you've studied science, you know there's infrared and there is ultraviolet. But eyes don't know that, isn't it?
Hmm.
So at least you can understand कि चलो what my eyes see alone is not the full truth. I'm seeing a portion of the truth. That will allow you to not get so carried away by, oh, what is this, what is happening. So controlling our senses in the senses, you will have your senses. They will function according to their rules, isn't it?
So I
You
can
feel
feel
hungry, your
sad,
stomach
but
will rumble.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I can feel sad, but how I
yeah.
manage it
I
is
would I would say you avoid thinking of that you can feel sad because moments come, you will feel sad automatically. Many times when we say, कि, हाँ, yeah, this is okay, and we get somehow attached to sorrow. Instead, it's all right. Don't be guilty because then I remember one person, I am having doubt if I will have doubts. That was what about going on the path. So are you having a doubt that this path is effective or no? No, I don't have that doubt. But I'm having a doubt if I will have a doubt after some time. When that doubt comes, you look at it, isn't it? Right now, you are doubting about a doubt which is non-existent and getting attached to that and then worrying about the outcomes. Instead of that, Indriyas are there. Indriyas have been given for a purpose. Use them. Don't let them use you. As simple as that.
people
Means,
who are people who are emotionally numb, sometimes they don't feel anything, and that is more
that is not what Gita is not asking you to become cold. That is numbness is actually another emotional reaction only.
yes, yes.
It is an emotional reaction. It's an extreme emotional reaction. And now I have become most heartless people also. It is said even dictators and all they had biggest sorrow, and then that sorrow they converted it and distorted it. It is said I think Hitler also proposed to a Jew only, isn't it? And that was turned down. And then he's taken that out in anger. I'm not fully sure because I've not done a psychoanalysis of him and I don't know I'm not expert in history. I'm just a mechanical engineer. But this is what happens. Opposite reaction, immediately emotional reactions. No, I will not feel any emotions anymore.
Yeah.
अब से हमारा नाता बंद हो गया. हम अब से we will not talk anymore. Is that emotional reaction or is it detachment? It is emotional reaction. That's not detachment. So meaning of detachment has not yet been explained by Krishna, but in the Gita it is beautifully described. There are nice words for it. Mukta Sangha. Mukta means what? Free.
Free.
Sangha means union. A free
Union.
union. Means you are united and still free. That is how a relationship should be, no? Freedom is there. You can do what you want. But that person is not misusing the freedom. The bandhan is remaining, but no bondage is there in that. Something like that. So it's a fine line, but emotions will come to us because we are all humans. It is natural. Getting carried away is the problem only. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Namaskar. Hari Om.
Hari
Angan
Om.
Milao. Hari Om ji. Namaskar. See you tomorrow.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.